Top of the morning, Coach. How you doing, man?
I am doing excellent. How are you all?
Very well. Very well. Good to see you again.
Yes, sir.
Let's see.
First time in 2021, huh?
That's it. Yeah.
We leave 2020 in the past. Leave it back there.
Leaving in the past, but we're still here. Sorry to do that to you. We're still here though. So early signing day came and passed. So we're now on what used to be the main signing day. But it seemed like it took a little bit of a secondary role. Do you think that's because you guys did so well in December, or is that just how college football is going to operate now?
Say that secondary role apart again. You was breaking up.
Yeah, because this took a secondary role compared to the early signing day. Is that because you guys did so well in December, or is this the future of college football?
Well, I think things are forever changing. So you're always going to adjust. It seems like every year there's something new that comes up that you got to adjust to. And again, unfortunately, we're in a pandemic now, so things are different from that standpoint when it comes to recruiting and how you recruit. And yeah, with early signing period, a lot of teams get their guys, and the majority of your recruiting class is done then. And so you go through January and try to finish out the way that you would like to, but also now with some of the new rules coming into play, you got to adjust to that as well. So it's forever changing. I don't think signing day is going to be the same again like it used to be in February, and everyone was jacked up about it, and it was just you're getting that in December now. So it's forever changing, and you just got to be willing and able and to work with the changes that come.
So it seemed like from December, if there was one void you tried to fill today, it would be in the defensive backfield. So now that they're in, do you want to talk about the pair of Atlantic high school cornerbacks?
Yeah, good football players coming from a good football team, and it always helped to get local guys here. And again, the secondary is an area where we got to continue to, especially in this league, you got to continue to have some DBs. Guys don't throw the ball around. You got to have guys to cover. And for us, we're gonna lose guys when we get through the season. So to get not only two good football players, but two guys from around this area that understand the area, understand FAU, is always a plus for us.
Coach, you guys were no strangers to the whole coaching carousel part of offseason, and how difficult was it to try and retain some of the commits when you guys are rebuilding a staff and having to hire new guys on the fly there?
Well, again, it's different now because the bulk of our recruiting was done back in December. So it was only a handful of guys we knew we were going to get here in January, and again, because of the work that our assistant coaches put in and the relationship we built with these kids, it didn't make much of a difference at all. A lot of these kids knew where they wanted to go, where they wanted to be, and that's always good when they know that for themselves, where they want to be and play, and no matter who's the coach, they want to be a part of that culture that's there. So that part, it wasn't difficult at all.
Speaking of kids knowing where they want to go, Jabari Hill kind of stands out right away. It seems like he was another recruiter for you guys. How helpful is that when you have one of the kids in the class?
Well, I think that's what makes really good recruiting classes. You look at a lot of these schools that's in the top recruiting, a big part of those kids recruit each other. I think that's create a great culture, a great environment, and I think it's good now. A lot of these kids know each other before they get on campus, and to me that's a plus, that's a bonus, that's different than what it used to be. And these kids know each other, so when they get on campus, it's not like they're trying to find new friends and they already know someone and had that relationship. But I think that's what helps strengthen and have strong recruiting class when you have guys recruiting each other and want to play with one another. That makes it that much more special.
Coach, share with FAU Owl's Nest. Obviously with the 25-man limit, it becomes really, there's a balance. It's really difficult, especially with, the opportunities in the transfer portal. Last year, you guys used the gray shirt a little bit on 3 players who are now currently enrolled. Is that a tool you guys will continue to use with this class? And can you just kind of talk about like the benefits and how of using that to maybe create more room to sign kids in the portal and push kids forward to next year? Is that just become more a part of recruiting than we've seen it in the past?
Well, I think recruiting, like I said earlier, recruiting is forever changing. So you better be willing to change and be on top of the changes that's happening, so you can take advantage of the things that we have in front of us, and looking out for your program, and being able to have things of nature of a gray shirt and blue shirt and things of that nature. Again, with the 25-man limit that you have, you got to be ready to take advantage of all those things. So you got to think through some of it and what's your need, what's important, and do a good job of communicating with kids on those things, But it's different. It's difficult now because of the new transfer rule that comes into play. I mean, you can constantly lose guys off your roster, and you can't replace them because you have a 25-man limit. So that makes it different. So you got to think about recruiting different, year in, year out because of that, because of the new transfer rule and not being able to replace certain guys if someone leaves. Again, that's the tough part when you just have a 25-man limit. And it's tough because you can have scholarship, but you don't have room within the 25. So you can have scholarship, but you can't add a guy because there's a limit. But you can lose a player if he wants to go somewhere else and you can't. So that's going to be tough on a lot of people as this thing goes and going. But you got to, again, as coaches, whenever they have rules, it's on you to find ways to benefit your program and use those rules to help your program.
We saw, this isn't really signing day prudent to it, but you didn't go after a linebacker today, and that's after the team got a big addition, a fan favorite, Kiki Leroy. So can you talk about that process a little bit and what it means to have such a great figure back in the locker room?
It was great to have not only a good football player, but a good person too, and to have him around and be around his teammates and seeing his teammates excited to have him back is always good. And again, you have guys like that learn from their mistakes and want to work hard to make changes. You always want to help them and help them continue to make the changes that they're trying to make within themselves. But Kiki's a really good football player and really good person, and I'm excited to have him back.
And then let's talk about Aquino King, big kid from Miami Northwestern. You were talking earlier about big programs. I mean, that's one of the biggest right there. So can you talk about him? Do you think because of the type of competition he's used to, he could compete right away?
I think it's always hard to come out of high school and compete right away up front.
Yeah.
It's so physical, and not that some guys can't do it, but that's typically the hardest position to be able to do it. So but we're going to allow him to come in and compete and see what he can do. One thing I make sure we don't do as coaches is put limits on kids and tell them what they can and can't do. We allow them to come in and show us what they can and can't do, and when it comes to playing or redshirting and things of that nature. But the one thing we're trying to do is build a competitive roster, a competitive depth chart, competitive football team to where guys can't get complacent. Guys can't come in and think, well, it's just my job. I got this job. We don't want that environment. We want guys to know that that guy behind me is plenty good enough to take my job. So I can't come in here and just go through the motions. Every day I got to come because that guy's trying to get my job, and that's what we're trying to do is build that competitive depth, knowing if we had that, we're going to be much better as a football team. Shane, just back to your gray shirt question too. One of the benefits of that too is guys just develop more. I mean, they have a whole year where they get to develop. We have 2 kids here now that look so much different than they did when we recruited them back in January with Wheeler and Peter Ward Jr. Those guys. I mean, their body has changed so much. I didn't know who Wheeler was when he came in. It's like, dang, he's so different. He was so much smaller when he came in, and now he looks like he's been here already. But it's a great benefit for us, but I also think it's a good benefit for young guys as well.
Coach, were you? I know we asked a little bit about this at the end of the season, and you were hopeful, but it appears that I believe most of the seniors returned, if not just a handful, have returned back to the to kind of give it another go this season. Were you even kind of surprised at the amount of guys that came back? Did it almost exceed your expectations? And then just the second part of that question, when that many guys returned, did it change some of your thinking into, going into the second signing day?
Well, I wasn't surprised by how many guys came back just because of the culture of this football team. These guys love being around each other and playing ball with one another. So when they all decided to come back, it wasn't a surprise, and I wanted them all back. I enjoyed being around these guys, and they love working, like I say, love competing, and love winning. So having these guys back around was a blessing to get them back. But for sure, it changes some things, because again, for us having them back and really knowing exactly what you have now as a football team, something we didn't know until we went through the season. You know what you need going forward to help your team going into next year. So you got to make sure that you're answering some of those questions that you have within your football team with new recruits to add on to the guys that we have. But also go back to what I was mentioning earlier about the competitive depth. Having these guys back and some of the guys coming in really helps with that competitive depth. And I'm really excited about it because I think it's going to make us better as a football team. And I'm really excited to watch these guys go out and compete to earn their jobs. And again, last year, I think there were some guys kind of knew they had jobs and they weren't going to get taken because we didn't have a lot of backup that was good enough to take their jobs. But I think it'll be totally different this year, and really, really excited about that. And I think the guys are too. But it's just going to make them better.
Coach, I know this is kind of the natural, the cliche question on signing day, especially now with the rules being extended that, February 3rd, people always forget is just the start of signing day. And I get with NCAA now, you can sign kids and it's not all the way to August 1st. So I guess the natural cliche question is, are you guys done? What, still out there. Obviously, the portal grows by, seems like a few hundred kids every day. I know space is limited, but, there's the cliche question.
Well, you're never done when it comes to recruiting. So that would be my answer. You're never done when it comes to recruiting. And again, like I said earlier, with all the changes that's coming about, you got to prepare and be ready. If you're not, then shame on you. So we're prepared for all the changes that's come about and position ourselves, which I think in a good position to help our football team going into the season. So are we done? You're never done, so I guess that's the best way to put it. You're never done, Shane.
The question always has to be asked.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited. Like you said, you're never done, and again, we could add some more good football and good people to our program.
Coach, I do want to touch on the quarterback position. Obviously, during the early setting, we weren't able to talk about the transfer because he came a little bit after we were actually on, I guess, WebEx. Is there an added emphasis? Oh, was it? So, I mean, just if you want to touch on Michael Johnson, please feel free. But is there an added emphasis every year to go out there and add a quarterback through, whether that be the portal or the actual high school recruiting class?
Yeah, I think every year you got to bring in a guy. Again, with the way recruiting is and the way it's going, you especially at that position, you got to always recruit and bring guys in that you think can help you win games. And again, with transfer and the portal the way it is, you just never know how it goes. You would like to have a culture where you developing guys and helping them reach their dreams and goals, to where guys understand that, hey, if I be patient, continue to compete, I'm gonna have my opportunity. But that's not the world that we all live in anymore. So you always got to be ready, and you got to always continue to recruit QBs. But you also want to make sure that room is highly competitive. And if there's any room you want to be competitive, that room, and guys going after it every single day. So yes, every year you got to bring someone in your program to help you continue to go, I think. But again, with that being said, you got to create a culture so you can develop these guys. Some of these guys want to leave so fast that they don't develop the way that they need to. And I think if you have a culture that's right, a lot of these kids won't just get up and just go, but then they understand that they got to compete. No one's going to give them anything, but they're going to have the opportunity to earn it. And I think they all can appreciate and respect that when they know that that's in front of them.
Is Mike on campus already?
Yes, he's here. And Mike is on campus, and he's running around with the guys with him like he's been here for a long time. So
with. I was gonna say, sorry, Coach. With some early enrollees too, that must be nice.
It's really good to have that many guys here early and working and training during the springtime. I think that's an advantage for us and for them too. When it comes to opportunity of playing and opportunity of taking someone's job, being here in the spring where you can work out, get accustomed to school before you get into a football season, and things to where you come into training camp, there's no learning who my teammates are and learning the plays I know now I can go compete. But it's great to have those guys here now and seeing them. I mean, some of those guys already, like Jacob Paisley, I think he's already gained about 9 to 10 pounds and only been here for 2.5 weeks, so it's good to see guys here and being in the weight room and for us to be able to get with them and start their development now. So I'm excited. We got some good-looking freshmen that's here now, and I'm excited about this spring and this class and moving forward.
Those 9 pounds, that's not a freshman going to the cafeteria now, is it? That's a weight room weight, right?
That's weight room, yeah. It's not fat. It looks good, and
we've all been there, man.
But it's impressive, but those are things that you want when they come in the spring, and again, I want that out of our freshmen, but I want that out of our entire football team. I thought we were one of the smallest football team in this conference. We played against teams this year, and we got to get bigger, faster, stronger.
And then considering everything that's happened in the last year, have you ever been more excited for spring ball?
Absolutely. I'm more excited now because I know what we have. Again, we didn't get this last year in the spring ball to see what you have, but you really know what you have now because of game action, not just practice, but you know how guys respond in game and how they do things. So planning-wise and putting people in the right position to go where you want, it's a lot easier now because you know what you have and know how guys react to certain things. So now putting them in the right places to really go take the program to where we want to go. Feel really good about it. And then, again, can't wait to spring ball because of our players. They know what to do now. You know, again, they're not learning on the ropes. And so now knowing what to do should make things go a lot smoother. You know, and then we got to do a great job of coaching them up. And but I'm really excited. About spring ball, can't wait. It's right around the corner. So can't wait. Be here before we know it. Keep our fingers crossed.
Speaking of spring ball.
Wow, you finally asked the question.
There he is.
Whoa, what's up with this 2021 Kobe?
They were asking all the questions. Like, you know what? I'm going to let them roll. They pretty much asked all the questions I had on my mind. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent.
I had to hop in and out because I was on the phone and had to jump on my laptop. It was updating. But I wanted to ask you about spring ball since, you know, this year we can expect to have one. With Larry, do you expect him to participate? And if so, what level of participation do you Larry McCammon did?
Yes, I expect him. How much? I couldn't tell you that right now. Again, he's still rehabbing, coming back, but he's out working out with the guys and doing things. So he's further along than what he was last year. So I expect would there be some limits? I'm sure there'll be some with him, but expect for him to be out there with us.
See, Kobe got too comfortable because it's cold outside right now. So he's like, you know, I'm just going to be, you know, he feels like he's back at home. He's going to put his feet up for a little bit.
Back home,
It feels beautiful.
You're crazy,
no,
man.
it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
No.
Yeah, it does. Let's sit outside after this.
If no one else has anything else, the family's doing well, Coach. Family's staying healthy.
Family is doing great. How about you all, family? You still staying positive or staying negative?
That's it, yeah. Thinking positive, saying negative. And I guess I'll close. Who do you got for this Sunday?
Oh, Bucks all day.
My man.
Baby. That's home team. I used to sell Cokes at the Bucks game.
That's really.
Literally. Yeah, that's how I made my extra change there.
Was that the old sombrero back then, man?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Back when the Vinny Testaverde, James
That's
Wilder
it.
days.
Oh, man. Remember James Wilder Jr., man? Remember him for a little bit,
yeah.
too?
I remember him, too.
Yeah.